and welcome to the String Theory podcast. I am coming to you from York in the UK, and this is a sort of knitting and crafting podcast, mostly featuring yarn. Thank you to anyone who's a returning viewer, and thank you to anyone who's a new viewer. It's lovely to have you. Without further ado, I'm going to start talking to you about my finished objects for this week, or this fortnight, I should say. First thing I've finished is my Tegna by Caitlin Hunter. Tegna is a sort of t-shirt style knit, a sort of summer knit. I'll put a picture of it here. Ta-da! Maybe even a picture of me wearing it. And it is just a delightful, delightful knit. I wasn't going to make one of these. I was sort of encouraged into it by some friends, as discussed on the previous episode. And actually really, really enjoyed it. It has got a lacework trim at the bottom, which you can see has just blocked so well. It looks absolutely stunning. And then it's plain knit from there upwards. I actually got a little bit bored during the plain knitting, I'm not going to lie. But it is necessary to have such a beautiful garment. So basically when the lace finishes, you knit up to, you can see the sleeves there, up to about here in the round. We then separate and we knit flat. Not my favourite thing, especially not in 4-ply. To get to the top here, we've got little sleeves. We've got quite a wide neck. I'm not definitely sure I'm a fan of such a wide neck. It's a little bit, I've got a yellow vest top on because I'm coordinated, but it's a little bit bra strappy. I'm sure you'll all know what I mean. So I'm not a massive fan of that. I could have knit that in a bit further. I didn't. But it's a rolled edge hem, which I really like. It's the first time I've done that. It's the first time I've done a few things, actually. It is the first time I have done a 3-needle bind off, which I had to do like here, at the top of the shoulder. Never done a 3-needle bind off before. That was surprisingly easy. Never be put off by that. I really quite enjoyed that, and I would happily do it again without fear. I did short rows. Now, I've done short rows before. They weren't very successful. I had holes because I didn't really understand the short row, the initial wrap and turn, picking the wraps up. That was the bit that defeated me last time. But on this one, I have managed, mainly by thoroughly reading the instructions. So you can't see, I did less well. There's 3 times I did less well. No, it happened 4 times. I did less well on one of them, which is this one. But I don't think, unless I point it out to you, I don't think anyone's going to notice. So I'm going to stop pointing that out, basically. So yeah, what else to say about this? The fit, it's a loose fit. It's a very loose fit. And I think it's meant to be, well, all the pictures look like it's meant to be. It's a little bit cropped. I knitted an extra inch on mine to make it not quite as cropped. I'm quite tall anyway. And I wanted it to be a little bit longer. So I knitted just an extra inch on the given amount. I've also got massive tension, so I was sort of compensating for that. Is in sort of my planning, in that I knew it would also go further than the 1 inch. So mine comes sort of mid-hip, which you'll be able to see. I'll put a picture of myself wearing it on the Instagram, certainly, probably on here. And yeah, the fit, but it's massive. You can see this, woo! You can see all the wrinkling, which is lovely. It's really, really comfortable. I really like that. I'm fairly certain the reason it's so massive is because I did the thing where you go, I know what size I am, it's fine. And then you just knit the size you think you are. And then turns out, actually, it's massive. Combined with your then massive tension, turns out pretty huge. I think I've yet to knit anything in my knitting career, garment-wise, that wouldn't have easily fit Hagrid. But I do like things baggy, so I suppose that's okay. If this was the 4th size, if I was to do it again, having measured myself now, I would do the 3rd size, and it would still have a lot more room. So yeah, you can see the fit is massive because I can hold it up like that. But the lacework is absolutely stunning. I was a massive, massive fan of that. I'm a bit funny with lacework. Sometimes I think it looks a bit naff. But this one I really, really liked. And I was really happy with it. What else can I say about it? Oh, the other thing I did that I've never done before, stretchy bind off. That's a really basic thing that most people have probably done, but I hadn't for whatever reason. Turns out that's really easy as well. So bit of Googling, YouTube videos, stretchy bind off. And yeah, it was all good. The pattern I really, really like. I would definitely recommend. It only used for me, I mean, hang on. This is what I had left over from 3 skeins of 4-ply. That's quite a lot left over. So it used about 2.5, I think, which is, considering the size of it, is really, really good. I think if I'm considering doing another one for my sister-in-law for her birthday later in the year. She's only really wee. She's tiny petite. And I'm fairly certain I could get hers up like 1 and a bit. But yeah, so really good value for money in terms of your meterage on what you get there. I liked that about it. The pattern was easy to read and easy to follow. Again, I didn't enjoy the flat bit, but that's not really the pattern's fault, because the other option, I guess, would have been to have to like cut holes and steek the arms on. And that, I'll cover in a moment why I wouldn't be very good at that currently. And I do like the fit of it, actually, because of knitting the flats. I think it's, you know, some pain, some gain, I think is the situation there. The yarn is interesting. I do like it. I love the colour. The colour is absolutely beautiful. It's the colourway is Demeter by A Little Bit Sheepish, whose label I still haven't found, so I still can't tell you the blend. Might be a BFL cashmere sock. It kind of pulled a bit weird. Let's see if I can find it to show you. I don't know if you can. Yeah, you can definitely see it on there. You can just see it's not a solid colour, nor is it the sort of variegated you want, where it's a sort of confetti style variegated, or the sort of I would anyway. But again, I didn't do a gauge swatch. I just marched on in there with the yarn, so I can't really apportion any blame to the people who dyed the yarn for that one. It's beautifully soft and it relaxed really, really well after blocking, so can definitely recommend the yarn based on that. What was interesting was that there was a lot of dye washed out of it. Now I dye my own yarn, and I've never had as much dye wash out of one that I've dyed, let alone one that I've bought, and then it was just when I was blocking it, it looked like someone had had a wee in my bath. Presumably that's colour specific, but yeah, so that was a bit unusual. I should probably contact them and let them know, because I can't imagine that's normal. But yeah, I washed it like I think about 13 or 14 times, rinsing it out, before I was like, no, I'm going to ruin it if I do any more, and it's still coming out yellow. So I guess I'll have to be careful if I'm wearing white underneath and get caught in a thunderstorm. Anyway. So yeah, generally very, very happy with my Tegna. Would definitely knit another one. Definitely. In fact, I've contemplated starting another one like this week. Possibly a glutton for punishment. But yeah, thoroughly recommend. Enjoyed it. Very good. On to, that's all I finished this week. On to works in progress. Now, if you've watched last week's one, you remember that I said, I've got another work in progress. I'm not going to show you because I tried to steek it. It's really embarrassing. I'll show you when I fixed it. Remember that? I didn't fix it. I just broke it more. So I'm going to show you it, even though it's a mess, because I think sometimes it's important to take comfort in other people's horrendous crafting misfortunes when they are terrible and can't read instructions. So this was a cardigan, a little tiny cardigan for my godson that I was knitting. It smells wonderfully sheepy. It's got little jellyfish on the bottom and little fish on the top, a little bit of a stripe, and this was a little bit of a sea wave. I don't know if you can really see there. Knitted in the round, just a basic jumper pattern that I think probably started off as the Tin Can Knits Flax pattern, but is actually now just in my head as a basic jumper pattern. So yeah, it was going really well. I was really enjoying it. It's a bit wrinkly, but I was like, no, that'll block out. It's fine, it'll block out. But I wanted specifically it to be a cardigan, not a jumper, because people who have babies assure me that it is easier to get them into cardigans. Also, the time of year, I mean, I'm not going to be wanting to wear proper jumpers, so I can't imagine a 1-year-old is going to be. So I then tried to steek it. Now I've practiced steeking before. I have. I did a gauge, I steeked it, it was fine. I threw abuse at it, it lasted, it was great. I don't know what happened here. This happened. Look. That's what happened. Now what have I done there? I don't know what I've done. I wondered if it might be the yarn choice. This is West Yorkshire Spinners Illustrious. So it's the alpaca blend. And although it's got a high percentage of real wool, I think it's something like 70-30% wool and alpaca, should have kept the label. One day soon, you'll see, I'll keep the label. But maybe it's the wool blend, I don't know. It doesn't feel sticky, and it does, you know, it is going to come apart if I pull it. So I thought, what on earth have I done? It's worse on one side than the other, definitely. This side slightly, pending what I then did to it, slightly less unravelly, but this just what? Also, I clearly haven't sewn any of the ends in because I hadn't finished it. So, yeah, so I thought, well, what I'll do is I've seen online people using sewing machines to reinforce. So what I'll do is I'll try that. And then I got the tension wrong on my sewing machine. Now it's a mess. So yeah, I tried to like fold it over and machine along the edge. I machined a straight stitch, which you can't really see. Can you see it vaguely there? And a zigzag stitch separately to try and sort of fix it. And I didn't fix this tension. And look at that, it's gone all wrinkled. Like I knew that should happen. That's what happens when you sew with the wrong tension on stretchy things. That's what happens. But rather than just wait and find out and look at the tension on the machine and think, what can I do about this? I didn't take down the dog teeth, nothing. Just sewed it. And it looks like this, and it's all wrinkled and horrible. And then I didn't even do the other side properly. I did a straight stitch to try and stop it escaping, which I think has worked. But ultimately, it just made a terrible mess of it. So, although I probably still can I rescue that? Maybe. Could potentially still rescue it. I think that ship has sailed. You know, I think it's all right sometimes when you lose confidence in your work in progress. And there's a lot of people really like to tick them off the list and properly finish. And there's a lot of people who don't like to have many on the go. I think I'm at the point now where, for now, I'm classifying this one as done, because twice it has defeated me, probably due to my own limitations rather than anything it has done. I'm not feeling it. I feel it saddens me that I can't fix that. I don't know why steeking is such a mystery, but now I'm terrified of it again, because what if I knit a me-size cardigan and it all goes wrong? Yeah. So, I don't know, maybe I need to find a class or something on steeking. What about Craftsy? Do you think Craftsy in Blueprint it's called now? Maybe they have one on steeking. Be worth the 7-day free trial to find out. Maybe I'll have a look. But then I watched the video, so I'm just not sure. I don't know what the issue is with this. I need to find an older adult and ask them, because I do not know. So, goodbye, small cardigan. We may see you again in the future. Yeah. Anyway, other work in progress this week. I have got my sockhead hat, which I showed you. I've done like nothing on it last time, but I showed you it. I've not done an awful lot more this time. Sockhead slouch hat, this is by Kelly McClure. Lovely free pattern, really good use of variegated 100 gram skeins. Nice stretchy rib. It's going to be a nice slouchy hat. And this is yarn by Knit the Bed, called Skinny Dipping. But I had a bit of a problem. This has just turned into a big whinge, this 5 minutes. Yeah, so these are size 2.5, which is the recommended size. And is the size that I would want to get the hat that I am after. However, I think that they're intent on destroying my thumbs, which is sort of problematic, really. I knitted on this, I must have done about this much in the last couple of weeks. but my thumb joint here was really aching. So I had to lay off the knitting totally. And that happened just before Easter when I was knitting the socks that I showed you last week. And I think they were on 2.5s as well. I think it might just be that I hold it too tight when it's really small. Does anyone else suffer from that? I've not encountered it before, but I don't often knit with very small needles because I'm really impatient. So I have decided not to work on this for a little while. It's going in my sort of travel bag. It's in my homemade project bag. And it'll go in for when I need to take it to emergency meetings and rehearsals and what have you to have something to knit. But I'm just a bit concerned about my thumb, to be honest. We shall see. Back in the bag with you. Yeah. So I think what I actually need is to start a small project that is on bigger needles. But I suffer from a lack of creativity in that area and just like to make hats, and it's not hat season. So maybe I need to think of something else. I've been doing a lot of raffle researching recently. I'm sure I'll come up with something, probably. So yeah, that is my works in progress, apart from my work in progress pièce de résistance that I'm working on at the moment, which is a big nice shawl. So here we... You love yellow, Kaylee. Ta-da! So this is, I'll show you up close, is Wensleydale Longwools. It is one of these. Ba-ba. It's a 4-ply. It is a 100% pure new wool Wensleydale, spun in Yorkshire. It's always good. 170 metres, 186 yards, 50 gram ball. Shade number 653. Creative. Anyway, this nice yellow colour. I got 5 of these to originally make the Licensing shawl by Ellie from Scandia. I started gauge swatching for the licensing and decided it wasn't what I was feeling. This yarn is very textured. It's soft, but it's got a lot of fibrey texture to it. And it was going to be on massive needles, and I just wasn't enjoying that combination for some reason. I'm not sure why. Something to do with, I'm very tactile, something to do with what it felt like I didn't enjoy. So I decided to set aside the licensing, and what I've actually done is a really basic, I'll just show you this bit because you can't really see the rest of it because the needles look long enough. It's a really basic crescent shawl at the moment. So I've got through about 60 grams of the 250 grams that I've got. I'm probably going to go through 150 grams and then put on some sort of lacy border. But I'm kind of just making it up, which is problematic when the only real lace things you've made before are the Tegna you're currently wearing and a couple of scarves with basic eyelets. So that's going to be an interesting experiment, and I'll report back to you on how that goes. I think it would look nice. It's for a wedding. I've got a lovely navy blue... Oh my God, it's that one that I'm wearing in the picture right there. That dress, which I'm reusing to go to weddings. That's my mum. Hi, Mum. That's me. That dress that I'm wearing on there has got beautiful, big yellow and blue flowers. I've got yellow shoes, I've got a yellow handbag, and I wanted to make a yellow shawl to go with it as well. So it doesn't need to be too fancy because you can see the dress is really patterned. So I wanted to keep it fairly plain, but also I don't want to die of boredom. So I am going to put something into it, but I'm not sure what yet. Hopefully by next time I'll be able to show you, because it is actually going quite fast. I'm using size 4mm needles just to hurry it along a bit, which does give it quite a loose texture, but because it's all fibrey and apparently it blocks really well, so it should fill out as well once I've blocked it. It should be suitably lightweight and pretty and warm, which is what I want when I've got all of them out for wedding season. I'm a cold person, so I've worn it previously. That I was in Greece there, so it was lovely and warm, far too hot for gingers like me. But I like to generally wear a layer over the top, so the shawl will form a lovely layer. Yeah, it's always nice for a special occasion, isn't it, to make yourself something nice. So yeah, so that is the end of my work in progress for this week. I think that's quite good. I've been fairly monogamous actually, which is not like me. Because that technically those work in progress were, this I'm not working on anymore, this I broke, and this I'm working on. So that's technically just one. I'm proud. So moving on to sort of general chit chat and ideas and things. What's high on my agenda? The Novelli by Caitlin Hunter. Same person who did the Tegna, part of the same collection. There's 3 of them in the collection. I actually don't really like the 3rd one, but I really like the Tegna and the Novelli. I've definitely got my eye on that. I mean, most of the knitting community world has got their eye on that, or has started that at the moment. It's a sort of, again, it's a cropped sort of t-shirt-y. I'll put a picture. It's a cropped t-shirt-y sort of style. It's got colour work around the bottom, which is quite striking, and a bit of a relaxed fit for the summer. It's another 4-ply one. Ooh, that would be my first 4-ply colour work. And I think I will go ahead and do this one. I think I will. I have dyed up some yarn today to do it. It's still wet on the washing line, else I could show you. But I have gone with a sort of dark tealy colour, a very dark grey and a silvery grey. I'm not sure what combinations we'll go for there, but I'm hoping to start that. Other things I've seen that I really like the look of: Love Note by Tin Can Knits. I'm a massive Tin Can Knits fan. Love Note, again, it's a sweater, but it's got like a lace panel around the sort of, well, boobs basically. And it's really, really nice. I think they're using a 4-ply and a mohair together, which is not my ideal, but they've suggested a DK substitute. I could do that. It's not really DK season, so I've kind of shelved that one for later, but I do really like it, and the lace pattern looks quite, to be fair, compared to the Tegna one, it looks quite simple, but it looks quite striking and effective. It looks like it would be a good sort of staple workwear sort of jumper. So I shall have a look at that one later in the year, I think. Maybe when I've got a job. Who knows? General updates to last week's podcast, if you did watch. The first thing is, so I showed you this, which I couldn't remember. I didn't have a label on it. I couldn't remember what it was. And we've had a comment say it's by Which Crafty Lady. So that was who the lovely sort of Polworth one was from. And also last week, so I was ruminating about the Kitchener stitch and who invented the Kitchener stitch and how did they do it. I quite often think about things like that. Like, how did they discover that you can put an egg and some flour and some sugar together and make a cake? How did that happen? Was that accident? Do people experiment with things like that? Did they experiment with things like that then? When are cakes from? Anyway, down the rabbit hole. Apparently, and I haven't verified this by Google or any other means, Lord Kitchener invented the Kitchener stitch to stop his soldiers' toes hurting or something like that. It sounds fantastic. I must research that more at a later date. So thank you for those people who were commenting. I didn't write names down. I should have done that. Sorry. So yeah, that was general sort of updates from last week. I don't have any acquisitions. Nothing to show you that I've bought this week. I have subscribed to the Truly Hooked, I'm going to call it Box of the Month. I'm not sure what it actually is. Theme box? Because the theme was Game of Thrones, so obviously. But it hasn't come yet. So I'll show you that when it comes. Hopefully by next time I can show you that. That'll be exciting. I've never ordered like a surprise box like that before. So that'll be really exciting. But I thought I might show you something nice from my stash. You're going to be really surprised at the colour. This is one of my prized yarny possessions. Ha 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 ha. Look at those colours. Yeah. So this is exciting. So I went to Paris 2-3 years ago at Easter. Then everything was closed because it was Easter. But that's why I was there, because my shop was closed. So you can't really complain, can you, in situations like that? So La Bien Aimée was in fact closed for the bank holiday, so I didn't get to go. So I kind of owed myself a skein of La Bien Aimée from the past when I saw them at Edinburgh Yarn Festival last year. So this is, look at their lovely logo and everything. This is singles, merino singles, in the colourway Grello. And it is just beautiful. I think it might be the kind of beautiful where it's too beautiful to ever use. Maybe. It's hard to tell. Yeah, I've never knitted in singles before. I don't know if that's particularly different. It's a 4-ply weight, I think. Isn't it? It doesn't say. Fairly certain it is. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the right project. really. But it's very fine, so maybe the right project is not right now. I'll have a sore thumb. But it's just so beautiful. Look at it. So, yeah. If anyone's got any ideas for what you can do with 100 grams, 400 yards, 366 metres of singles, that will specifically show off the fact that it is singles, because singles, then do let me know. But I just wanted to show you that nice thing. And maybe next week I'll show you some stuff that's not yellow. Who knows? Who knows? So, yeah, that's that. I'm not going to talk too much. I can put this section in Netflix. It's a great idea, Katie, to talk about all the TV programmes you've been watching, but in actual fact, spoilers, so you can't. But just as a sort of roundup, for argument's sake, Line of Duty, pleased, happy with that one. It's on iPlayer if you haven't watched it already. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it, it's great. Police procedural about police finding bent police. It's just great. It's really great. I was a bit concerned that the writing was going a bit skew-whiff in this last season. I was a bit concerned that we were going to have a decision that I wasn't going to be on board with. But it didn't happen in the last episode. I'm not sure how I feel about what did happen. It's not a programme featuring particularly magic or witch lore or anything like that, but it does feel a little bit coincidental occasionally. But anyway, I was generally happy with it, with what happened, so I think that was a good end to that. I'm not going to say anything about Game of Thrones because I can't. I just can't. I'm going to do this though. Because the last episode is on Sunday. Well, sort of on Sunday or Monday, depending where you are. But we actually have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch it, which is a bit sad. But basically, Al's a teacher and the kids at school really like to spoil all the programmes for the teachers. So some kid will have just Googled a list of who dies in Game of Thrones and will tell all the teachers. So we have to watch it before he goes to school, but we're not staying up till 2 in the morning to watch it because that's impractical. So we'll get up at 5 instead. If anyone wants to chat to me about Game of Thrones, I love Game of Thrones, but I won't say anything else on here. I watched Fleabag since last time, whilst doing copious amounts of knitting last week. Yeah, I quite like Fleabag. I like the first episode of the first season was great. The rest of the first season, it was a good twist at the end. Second season was better. I think most people have said that I've seen online. But definitely worth a watch. Good comedy. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge, oh my God, is just a genius. I didn't realise that she wrote Killing Eve. I didn't know that until I watched the BAFTAs the other day. She's just a genius. I'd really like her to be my friend. If anyone knows her and wants to put me in touch just to go for coffee, that'd be great. So yeah, Fleabag, just, yeah, comedy in it is great. And the style of her talking to the camera is my favourite thing. So, and what we've just started watching this week is The Umbrella Academy on Netflix. We've watched 2 episodes. Seems promising. Quite like it. Yeah, I'll report back on how that goes. So that is everything for this week. I've showed you my Tegna. I've showed you my not really work in progress. And we've had a little bit of a chat. It was lovely for you to join me. Thank you very much. If you want to find me over on Instagram, I have an Instagram account just for the podcast to let you know when podcasts are coming out. And that is at String Theory Podcast. And my own Instagram is at Stitches and Cables with a K. And that is where I do most of my hanging out if you want to chat and talk about Game of Thrones or anything else. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in and I hope to see you again soon. Bye.